Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we are going to continue with the Proverbs once again. Last time we spoke about the Proverbs of English, and today we are going to see the Proverbs of Arabic and see whether we have such Proverbs, lots of these Proverbs in our traditions or not. The fact says that we have lots of Proverbs in Arabic, okay? And these Proverbs have lots of equivalents in English. So once you translate the Arabic Proverbs into English, you can translate them also ideationally or functionally, as we did with the English Proverbs. Okay? Now the Proverbs of Arabic, they also reflect the tradition, the Arabic tradition, okay, of the Arab world. Now, we Palestinians have our own traditions, our own proverbs, which may be similar to the traditions of the Iraqis, of the Egyptians, of the Jordanians, but still Standard Arabic has its own proverbs, which are universal among all the Arab nations. So we have Standard Arabic with its proverbs, we have Palestinian Arabic with its proverbs. The main variety of Arabic has its own proverbs, which are understandable by the Arab nation, and we as Palestinians have our own proverbs, which can be also understood because you know Palestinian Arabic is only a dialect, okay? One type of the Arabic or the Arab dialects. Still we all speak one language, that is Arabic, okay? Where Standard Arabic is the first and the foremost dialect, or say it is the only variety of this language. So Arabic proverbs bear the stamp of approval from tradition and are thought to express best one's thoughts on many occasions. The widespread use of proverbs was available in the past, or say among the elderly or the old people. Still, the young people nowadays, they use proverbs, but in a less degree than that of the elder people. Okay? We have our proverbs recorded in lots of Arabic books. So we have literature of proverbs. We have lots of storage in proverbs in our Arabic library. Okay? But the decrease in the use of these proverbs in our language made a fatal blow to such proverbs, which are not used in the modern Standard Arabic, or say our simple Arabic. These proverbs are reduced in use from generation to generation, and here it's very essential to call upon all of us, all the Arab native speakers, to use as much proverbs as they can, because these proverbs represent their traditions, their culture, which they must be proud of. Okay. Here we have the dialects of Arabic are the mother tongues of most of the Arab people, unfortunately, mainly because Standard Arabic is not spoken widely as expected by native speakers of Arabic. The child is born hearing what's called dialects, okay, except only for the elite who can use standard Arabic nowadays, even among their kids. Okay, so we have native speakers for standard Arabic nowadays, but this comes recently. However, previously, people focused on dialects, the Arabic dialects. These Arabic dialects contain proverbs, okay, that may be similar to standard Arabic proverbs. But by the run of time, these proverbs decreased in use by the native speakers of Arabic, either the dialects or standard Arabic itself. However, the philologists paid lots of attention to the proverbs and recorded them in their literature. So we have the most important book that contains Arabic proverbs is called Kitab al-Amthal, Book of Proverbs. This is for Al-Mufaddal ibn Salama ad-Dabi. Okay? This scientist died in the 2nd century of Hijrah. He was a Kufan from Kufa. Okay? He was a famous philologist, and he has the authority of pre-Islamic poetry. He was a poet, and his collections of standard Arabic proverbs was very, very wide. We also have Hamza al-Asfahani's 10th century collection, which survives in manuscript forms, makhtutat. Okay? These collections deal with proverbs in af'al min, verbal forms, and these were used extensively by later writers who just analyzed or interpreted these manuscripts. Al-Maydani, as a philologist, recorded these proverbs, and he had a section for them in his famous book. We have the most famous book called Kitab Mujamma' al-Amthal, Book of Collected Proverbs of Ahmad bin Muhammad al-Maydani. Okay, this is the guy or the scientist we spoke about. Okay? This scientist or philologist collected lots of proverbs, and such book is considered the main source of these proverbs nowadays. So it is a good reference for the students and for scientists who are very interested in the Arabic traditions of proverbs. His book appeared in 2 volumes. Now we have lots of Arabic proverbs. Once we translate them, we use the same system of English. Either we have formal translation, functional translation, or ideational translation. For example, we have the proverb أبصر من زرقاء اليمامة. We speak about أبصر. We speak about the power of sight. Okay? So more observant than زرقاء اليمامة, a famous woman with incredible eyesight. Okay? So this, what do you call this? Formal, functional, or ideational? No. أبصر من زرقاء اليمامة. It's formal translation. Okay? Assalamu alaikum. So we have here as a formal translation أبصر من زرقاء اليمامة, more observant than زرقاء اليمامة. Okay? يعني his sight, his eyes are more powerful than زرقاء اليمامة. Okay? He has very strong sight. Okay? احذروا من لا يرجى خيره ولا يؤمن شره. Beware of those whose goodness you can't ask for and whose evil you can't be protected from. So this is formal and also functional. Okay? احفظ قرشك الأبيض ليومك الأسود. The literal translation is save your white penny for your black day. The idiomatic translation, this is available in English. A penny saved is a penny earned. Okay? So we have this available in English. Okay? So we can get the equivalent of the proverb if possible. Yani once you translate, first of all, you focus on equivalence. If there be equivalent, it will be okay. Otherwise, you find the translation using either functional or ideational translation. Okay? The one which the listener, the addressee can understand. Okay? Because these must be used in your dialogues, in your chatting, in your conversations with others. So once you speak to others, it depends on their culture, their levels. We have what is called the status scale. So speaking to the elite, to the one who is higher than you in rank, you use formal Arabic, you use more standard Arabic than any other one. If you speak to each other, then you are equal. So you can feel free and you speak formally or informally. Informally. Here, the more you use adverbs, the more you solidify your expressions, your talk. Okay? It depends on the addressee, the person to whom we speak or whom we speak to. Okay? The first one here is literal meaning. Save your white penny for your black day. The second one is idiomatic. Yes, it is formal, and you can say it is literal. Okay? Because you have what is called literal translation, word by word. Okay? More observant than زرقاء اليمامة. أبصر من زرقاء اليمامة. Okay? We can't, this is formal translation. We can't say more sightful than زرقاء اليمامة. Otherwise we change the meaning. Okay? More observant. How can we? The functional and the ideational. The functional is related to the original, the source language, or say the source language proverb. Okay? So once we say أبصر من زرقاء اليمامة, أبصر, I can make a literal translation or what is called transliteration. يعني word by word. Okay? More sightful than زرقاء اليمامة, but it is not accepted. This is called cohetic English. But when speaking functionally, we can say more observant than زرقاء اليمامة. Observant gives more meaning or quite close meaning to the original than sightful. You see? Once we say she is or he is of very strong vision, very strong sight. Okay, this is ideational. Fine. We have another proverb that is آخر الحياة الموت. The end of life is death. What do you call this? Formal. Live life to its fullest. What do you call this? Ideational. آخر الحياة الموت، بنقول لك إحنا عيش حياتك. إذا بلغ الرأي المشورة فاستعن بحزم ناصح أو نصيحة حازم. If there is no choice but advice, ask for the decisiveness of an advisor or the advice of a decisive person. It's formal and also it is considered functional. Okay? إذا أردت أن تطاع فأمر بما يستطاع. If you wanted obedience, command with what is possible. Formal and also functional, because you convey the meaning. And your translation is very precise. It fulfills the job. It gives the perfect meaning that you need to convey to others. So it is functional as well. Yes, إذا تفرقت الغنم قادتها العنز الجرباء. Shall the sheep go astray? They will be led by the ill goat. Yes. So this is functional translation. Now ideational translation means you can call it formal, you can call it functional, but now ideational. Is there any equivalent related to this in English? Mm-hmm. Strength is no identification or unification. Sorry, unification is powerful, is power. Okay. إذا عرف السبب بطل العجب. When the reason is known, there will be no more shock. So you can say this once you are wondering why something happened. Okay? إذا لم تستحي فافعل ما شئت. If you have no shame, then do with whatever you want. Okay? It's functional. Now the source of this proverb. We spoke about the English proverbs that they have different sources, either biblical sources, literary sources, or borrowing. Okay? We have this also. I mean, the Arabic proverbs have different sources like English. We have what is called borrowing. Okay? Because we have lots of colonializations coming to the area. These colonializations, which came to the area, affected us culturally. So we have the Turkish people, we have the British, and we have the Jews. Okay? Those affected our dialects, our Arab dialects. Okay? Some of their proverbs are inserted in Arabic, in the Arabic dialects only, but not in standard Arabic. Okay? So this type of proverb, إذا لم تستحي فافعل ما شئت, this is religious. It has a source in the prophetic discourse. Yani if you need to touch or to read the prophet life, or what is called the autobiography of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you find As-Sirah Nabawiyya contains lots of hadith referring to this meaning. You may consider this as a hadith, I think. إذا هبت رياحك فاغتنمها. If a wind blows, ride it. What does this mean? Is it formal, functional, or ideational? It's formal. If a wind blows, ride it. Yeah, it is typical to the Arabic word by word translation. This means that you have to, if a chance comes, take advantage of it. Okay? Yani take care or make use of any chance you have. Don't waste the good chance. Okay? طب إذا كنت تدري فتلك مصيبة وإن كنت لا تدري فالمصيبة أعظم. This is poetry. This means that you have some proverbs which are of literary sources. Okay? If you know, then it's a disaster. And if you don't know, then it's a greater disaster. It's formal and functional. If a leader knows or doesn't know about the corruption in his group, this will be disastrous. This is ideational. إذا قصرت يدك عن المكافأة فليصل لسانك بالشكر. If you can't reward, then you should thank. This is functional and also can be considered as ideational and formal. إذا غامرت في شرف مروم فلا تقنع بما دون النجوم. Okay? So this is literary. Okay? Hit your. Yes, this is functional and we have equivalent for it in English. Okay? If we have equivalent, better to use the equivalent in translation. طيب. Here we have lots of proverbs, as you see. In Arabic, and we need to know how to convey our message as teachers to our students, how to teach these proverbs correctly to our students. We have these available in translation once you translate from Arabic to English. Okay? You have to practice 3 types of translation. The best is taken. The simplest is acceptable. Our target or our main aim is just to convey our message correctly, to let the receivers understand what we say. Okay? So we have 3 ways. The shortcut way is by using ideational translation, or at least functional translation. However, literal translation is not accepted. Okay? So once you translate or once you teach translation for your students, you have to teach them 3 types. First of all, the easiest one, this is word for word. It is called transliteration. You translate the words of the proverb one by one, but this doesn't come, in most of the time, doesn't come with the correct and the needed meaning. Okay? As a sort, but it is considered as a sort or the first step for just knowing the start of the process for translating the proverb. So you can do that for translating the proverb, but you have to reach the correct translation by letting your students understand or using what is called functional translation or ideational one. Okay? To have this, you have to use lots of techniques. Okay? We have, for teaching the dialogue or the proverb, you can teach this contextually through dialogues. You have conversations done in the class. You introduce an example, okay, and then you let your students use the same example. You can ask about the events available in this dialogue using the same proverb available. Okay? Then your students answer using the same proverb. The more you use, the more they memorize it. Okay? Because memorization is also acceptable in teaching. Once we have the first language acquisition, we see memorization. But correction is not accepted. Okay? This is for the first language. I think that the second language teaching relies also sometimes on memorization. Okay? But not in a wide scope. Okay? I can't believe whether it's raining cats and dogs. Oh yes, but I think it will improve. However, we shan't count our chickens before they've hatched. I saw the forecast and it may well continue raining until the weekend. So we have two proverbs here. It's raining cats and dogs. What does it mean? It's raining heavily. Oh yes, but I think it will improve. However, we shan't count our chickens before they've hatched. What does it mean? يعني زي ما انت حكيت اتفضل. يعني لما يجي الصبي بنصلي على النبي. طيب صلوا على النبي. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. Yes. Yes. يعني لا نستعجل الأمور. طيب. Here we have, it's correct, yes. We have the translation. Yes, لا تقل لشيء إني فاعل ذلك غدا إلا أن يشاء الله. It is acceptable, yes, ideationally, yes. Okay. So you can teach your students such proverbs through context or through authentic dialogues. Okay? Dialogues which are related to their own environment, to their own culture, to their own context. To speak about the weather, which is available here, rain, which is familiar to your students, but speaking about things which they are not familiar with becomes very problematic. So if we cite examples about the geographical sites, about countries, we can speak about Palestine, for example. Speak about places which are familiar to the students. But speaking about Papua New Guinea, for example, it's very difficult to understand it. Okay? So you have to cite examples which are very, very close to the students' own culture, own environment. And you have to create or to present a good context, okay, in your teaching. So because proverbs are quite difficult, and it's difficult for them to be understood and memorized, you have to cite them in simple sentences and simple context. So we can introduce these idioms or these proverbs in their own context in the class, if possible. And you have to use them, if possible, you have to use them naturally inside the class. We can use visual pictures. Once we have, for example, paired in hand, better than 9, better than 2 in the bush. Okay? So we have this proverb taught by having pictures. So we can use pictures to help learners remember them. For example, draw a bird in the hand and 2 in the bush. So your students will memorize or will recall or remember the proverb very simply and very quickly. we can have what is called matching activities. So we have proverbs, okay, and we can cut them into two halves, every proverb. Then you ask your students to match them up, okay. You can distribute these fractions among your students, and you ask them to unify these proverbs once again, okay. The more you do that, the more they understand, the more you facilitate the process of understanding and memorization for your kids. And at the end of the day, this process creates fun inside the class, which is highly recommended. So now the English language practitioners focus on bringing correct and suitable situation inside the class. So once you teach proverbs, you have to bring the situation. The best way for using proverbs is to introduce storytelling. Storytelling inside the class is very, very accepted for your students, for your, the youngsters, the junior classes like very much fables and storytelling techniques. So if you introduce these proverbs inside the narration of the story, it will be highly acceptable, and we from our part recommend this also very much. We have now some examples, some proverbs in Arabic to be translated into English. عصفور في اليد ولا عشرة على الشجرة. We just translated it just a minute ago. Huh? A bird in hand is better than two in the bush. عن المرء لا تسأل وسل عن قرينه. Huh? The man is known by the company he keeps. The man is known by the company he keeps. Excellent. عند الامتحان يكرم المرء أو يهان. Okay. عند البطون ضاعت العقول. في التأني السلامة وفي العجلة الندامة. Okay. We need these to be considered as an assignment to be handed to us next time. Okay. I leave this on my website so you can see the slide. You can see the slides of the lecture in my website today. You need to translate them ideationally or functionally, and come ready for next time with your hard copy of the answers to be submitted to Ms. Ibtihal. Okay? You see them. Okay? So you have mostly 2 pages to be translated. They are very simple. Okay? That's it for today. Thank you.